The 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, and Kawasaki South Africa. Welcome to round 5 of the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, which once again forms part of the Extreme Festival around the Aldo Scribante Raceway in Port Elizabeth. The Aldo Scribante Raceway is a favourite not only amongst riders, but also spectators alike. For the riders then, after their qualifying sessions were done and dusted, it was time to make sure that final preparation was done. Make sure those Bridgestone tyres are nice and hot, up to temperature and set at the correct tyre pressure. Speaking about pressure then, and the pressure was most certainly on the riders. David Endicott looking good this weekend, so is Byron Rothwell. Veteran rider Johan Leroux on the left, having a quick chat to Aubrey Marais, while last year's champ Graham from Bidar getting in a final massage before creeping up, getting ready for race 1 of round 5 of the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. Han McMahon on a lone motorcycle with his fairings on after a mechanical issue plagued him in qualifying. Dieter Huisman, Eddie van Dalen looking for a good showing out here at Aldo Scribante. So is Stephen Golgozzi, Mr. Consistent of 2024, as the riders make their way out of pit lane to head out for the start of race 1. Let's take a look at the starting order for race 1 then. Damien Pifficati on pole with a 103.2 lap time ahead of Trevor Westman in second, David Endicott in third, Graham from Bidar fourth, Han McMahon in fifth, a great showing by James Barson in sixth ahead of Byron Rothwell, Eddie van Dalen wanting more from 8th, Christian Carvello in 9th, David Faringa 10th, Johan Leroux in 11th, Jai Cruz in 12th. That is a C-class battle there. Ahead of Mark Newland in 13th, Aubrey Marais in 14th, Stephen Golgozzi in 15th, and Dieter Huisman in 16th. Daryl Barrington absent from that crash in qualifying in 17th, ahead of Sifiso Temba in 18th. Renatus van der Kerk also absent in 19th, ahead of Tyrant Piper, and a great showing so far from Martin Parry, rounding out the grid in 21st. As the riders made their way to the grid then, who would take victory with the absence of Clinton Seller? Who would take the first victory other than Clinton Seller for 2024? Well, let's find out. They're holding the riders for quite a bit, but eventually the lights go on and the lights go off, and away we go for race 1 here at Aldo Scribante. A little bit of a wheelie for both Trevor Westman and David Endicott and Damien Pifficati. All the riders up front, but it looks like Trevor Westman grabbing the whole shot ahead of David Endicott in second, and that's Graham from Bidar in third. So a great start there from the defending champion. The riders made their way into turn 2 and 3 for the first time. It was Trevor Westman, the Project 16 team wayward man, exactly where he would want to be out front as we jump on board for the start with Han McMahon, the number 4 man. As you can see, a bit of a wheelie there from Graham from Bidar, but he hooks it up nicely. The same cannot be said for Damien Pifficati. He drops down to 4th, just ahead of Han McMahon, heading into turn 2. As we said, out of turn 3 and heading towards a hairpin, it was Trevor Westman still out front. As you can see, the wind had picked up. Wind's very windy here at the Aldo Scribante Raceway, and that would definitely play a part and be something for the riders to keep in the back of their mind. That wind is ultra strong. David Faringa on the number 117 machine, a great start, but not quite where he would want to be. He would want to be further up inside those top 6 positions. James Barson having a great qualifying, but dropping back some positions on the start. So he would have a lot of work to do to recover those positions. As you can see, behind Johan Leroux, but in front of Mark Newland. So a lot of work to do there from James Barson. Trevor Westman out front with the most work to do though, as he tries to keep the likes of David Endicott, Damien Pifficati and Graham from Bidar at bay. Behind the leading 4 though, it was Han McMahon, who had pulled a little bit of a gap on Byron Rothwell and Christian Carvello. Next up for Damien Pifficati would be David Endicott, or Han McMahon having a great outing on a lone machine. Remember, he's not used to that bike, completely different to what he's used to. Although it is a ZX10R, the setup, suspension, everything completely different. So a great outing for Han McMahon to bag those all-important points in his championship aspirations for 2024 as he comes onto the main straight behind Graham from Bidar. It is a leading group of 5 riders with around 10 laps to go in this 12-lap race. And as you can see, further behind them, the battle raging on, as it always does in the ZX10. Oh, a bit of a sit-up there. Damien Pifficati barging his way past David Endicott into turn 1. As this battle here, Aubrey Murray, Stephen Golgotzi, Sifiso Temba also having a great start to the race. We'll be hoping for a little bit more luck. And how's this battle on the inside? Christian Carvalho on the inside of Byron Rothwell as we take a ride on board with Byron Rothwell behind Adi van Dalen. Elbows out for Adi as always, heading into the hairpin. And nothing that Byron could do there. Christian was coming through. A great move by the number 88 man as he looks to get a result which would be one of his best rides of the year so far. So a great ride so far from Christian Carvalho. Byron Rothwell will be looking at closing that gap in. And as you can see now, right ahead, and that's another pass there. And that is David Feringa on the inside of Byron Rothwell. So David Feringa making up for a poor start by his standards, I'd say, as the leaders made their way onto the straight to complete yet another lap. Trevor Westman still holding the lead out front, ahead of Damien Pifficati, putting a lot of pressure on the number 60 man out front. Third place man was still David Endicott, ahead of Graham from Udar, and Han McMahon doing a great job closing down the leaders there in fifth place, the number 2 bike. And that means Mark Newland having a great outing here in Port Elizabeth. Out front, and there was a change for the lead. Damien Pifficati had gotten past Trevor Westman. So would Trevor Westman be able to stick with the number 821 bike? The Underleft Racing, Amalgam Welding man, looking very good out here at PE around the Aldo Scribante Raceway. Going very defensive into the hairpin, not allowing the number 60 bike of Trevor Westman to sniff up the inside. It's very easy to run wide there in the hairpin and allow the rider behind you to take advantage. But Damien Pifficati doing a great job out front under intense pressure now from Trevor Westman. And Trevor Westman would want to get past. He would want that victory to get as many points as he possibly could to close down on Clinton Seller in the championship, who is absent from this race meeting. So he needs to take advantage while he can. The third place battle was heating up nicely. And that was David Endicott on the 78, ahead of Graham from Bidar. While further back, the number 70 of Dieter Huisman trying to keep that front wheel down as he powers onto the front straight on his beautiful ZX10R. Dieter was doing a great job holding off the number 91 machine of Stephen Golgotzi, as you can see here. And they, in turn, were trying to close down on the man in front of them. So not an easy task there by any means, but those 3 riders doing a great job. We're out front, David Endicott defending very well against last year's champion Graham from Bidar, and it's good to see Graham running up front again. He's got to grips with that new spec ZX10R, and this is definitely one of the better outings he's had so far in 2024. Battles throughout the whole field in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, and we've become accustomed to this, and this was no different. This was a 5-rider battle for positions well within the top 10, so important points up for grabs here, and it was a battle that raged on between Adi van Dalen at the front of the group, and behind him, David Feringa on the number 117, the number 88 of Christian Carvalho, the number 37 of Byron Rothwell, and just behind them at the tail end of that group was James Barson on the number 15 bike, having a great outing so far, making his way through the field after a strong qualifying and, let's say, a rather poor start. So a good job there by James Barson. We've reached the halfway point in the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, so any points that you can put on the board from here on in will be more important and vital than ever. Byron Rothwell on the number 37 bike having a great outing. A poor start, but he's way up there in the position, so he'll be happy with that. A good platform to build on as we head into East London for round 6. Damien Pifficati still under massive pressure from the number 60 of Trevor Westman. Trevor looking to get past Damien, looking to get those 5 extra points for the victory on the board. But that is easier said than done, as Damien is quite a hard man to get past. It's one thing catching a rider, but it is another thing altogether trying to make your way past. Remember, in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, all the riders are on identical machinery, Kawasaki ZX10R bikes. Okay, yes, the years do vary, but the bikes are pretty much on a level playing field. And so are the tires, Bridgestone R11 tires, used by all the competitors. So it really does come down to the rider at the end of the day. This group of 5 riders, though, well within inside the top 10, was still at it. Adi van Dalen leading that group. A great ride from the number 469 man. Last couple of difficult rounds for AD, so he'll be looking to get back to form here at the Aldo Scribante Raceway. Still in 5th place with Han McMahon on the number 4 bike. He was trying his utmost to close that gap for the final podium position, and that was ensuing in front of him, and that was obviously between David Enticott and Graham from Bidar, the number 117 of David Feringa. He was second in that group, led by Adi van Dalen, and the riders they were closing down. James Parson looking like he was battling to stay with that group, but maybe as this group started battling, he would be able to close in, and that Adi van Dalen leading that out ahead of David Feringa. Christian Carvello also holding his own, having a stonking ride on the number 88 bike. Just behind him, Byron Rothquell and James Parson at the tail end of that group. As you can see, the riders heading down the main straight. Looking for a move on the inside of Christian Carvello there was Byron Rothquell, but Christian in turn was closing onto the back wheel of the man in front of him, David Feringa, leading out Class C, the number 44 veteran of Johan Leroux, as quick as ever. Back out front, and the race for the lead was still on. Damien Pivocati still holding his own, making sure that Trevor Westman can't get past him, blocking those lines. Where behind them, the battle for third was still in the hands of David Enticott ahead of Graham from Bidar, and we were heading into the final stages of the race now. So if you had anything left, you would have to put it on the table now and get past your opponent. Graham from Bidar on the tail of David Enticott, looking to get that drive, possibly make a move down, heading into turn 1. And further down the field, this battle was still on between Stephen Golgotti, Aubrey Marais, and they had pulled a little bit of a gap now on Dieter Huisman. So this battle was raging on. Aubrey Marais looking at going up the inside there of Stephen Golgotti, but no, Stephen closes the door, and a magnificent battle between these two riders. Dieter Huisman will be hoping that these two riders ahead of him engage in a furious battle which will allow him to close in and maybe get involved. Sifiso Temba on the number 63 bike, having a great ride, trying to keep the front wheel down, as this group is still in battle, and this is a 5-rider group, and Christian Carvello had now made his move and now sitting right behind Adi van Dalen as he looks to chase down Adi to gain yet another spot. By the time the checkered flag is waved, Joe Cruz on the number 76 bike, not having a ride in the point, expects to be a lot further up than that. This time half on the number 45, just getting lapped there by Damien Pivocati and Trevor Westman as they make their way through. Nothing to choose between these riders still, and the race is coming to an end now. If Trevor Westman, and what's that on the outside? Is that Sifiso Temba with an issue? So if Sifiso Temba looks like he's pulling out of the race there, so if it wasn't for bad luck, he would have no luck at all. But speaking about luck, up front, Damien Pivocati would take the victory ahead of Trevor Westman in second. David Enticott would win out on that battle for third, ahead of Graham from Bidar in fourth, and Han McMahon in fifth. And this battle was raging on still to the line, and it was still Adi van Dalen ahead of Christian Carvello and Byron Rothquell trying to pick up any pieces that might fall his way. James Parson just behind that, and David Feringa looked like he had fallen off that group. So a little bit of a disappointing end to the race for David Feringa. But what a race, what a first race out here at Aldo Scribante for round 5 of the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. With race 1 done and dusted here at Aldo Scribante, it was Damien Pivocati who took the victory, only just ahead of Trevor Westman in second, David Enticott in third, Graham from Bidar, great ride to fourth, just missing out on the podium, Han McMahon in fifth, Adi van Dalen, a great recovery to sixth, ahead of Christian Carvello in seventh, Byron Rothquell eighth, James Parson in ninth, David Feringa in 10th, Mark Newland in 11th, Johan Leroux 12th, Aubrey Marais in 13th, Stephen Golgotti 14th, Dieter Huisman in 15th, Jaya Cruz in 16th, ahead of Tyron Piper in 17th, and Martin Parry, last of the finishers, with Sifiso Temba still finishing the race, but unfortunately quite far down the field in 19th. As the riders make their way into pit lane, a fantastic race by everyone throughout the whole field there. This is something we've become accustomed to in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. Close racing at its finest. A huge well done to all of the riders, especially James Parson, a great showing. and the number 1 of Graham from Idar, he will have his eyes now set firmly on race 2. The 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone the tyre of choice, and Kawasaki South Africa.